Well, it's Friday, and you all know what that means. That means once again we get to review AEW Rampage. We have some interesting matches. Once again, they're still at Daly's Place, a very memorable moment. However, the main event features, of course, the Dark Order honoring the late Brodie Lee, taking on what's left of the former members of the Jericho Appreciation Society. We also move on. We're going to see who levels up on this episode of NXT Level Up. But also, on a note on this, NXT Level Up has reached their 100th episode, which is very epic on their part. But first things first, we go straight to Japan for a sealing for their very first show of 2024 for their Shinkiba Series Volume 1 that took place this past Thursday. So that is something we're going to be talking about. But of course, I mentioned this earlier in the previous episode. Arisa Nakashima was actually injured. You can see exactly what happened, and I'll explain a little bit about that as soon as we go on. But also, we got some news updates, well, very short ones for everybody, to tell what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, any developments in the world of pro wrestling, such as some exciting news, some things that we don't know about, the whole enchilada. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to get our hands on. We also do more news updates. If I'm unable to put it on this episode, I could put it on a separate episode by itself. We also do some more news updates, but this time more of the alert, where we keep updates as soon as possible. We hear something, we review it as well. And we also do pretty other cool stuff on this channel as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on the subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool stuff on this channel as well. But also, if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, our very first review, this is SEAdLINNG, with their very first show starting 2024. This is part of the Shinkiba series. Throughout the entire year, we'll be seeing all of that. However, this one features the Beyond the Sea Tag Team Title Tournament. Now, the previous champions, Ayame Suzumura and Reiki Kaijo, had to vacate the titles. I'm not sure what happened, but I'm going to presume that possibly one of the tag team champions might have been injured. So we only had two matches involved in this tournament. This one recently took place on the 11th of January in Shinkiba, which is of course a very well recognized venue for mostly for the independent promotions. But let's get started with that. Now, as you know, I said the tournament. Our first match, we have Misa Kugura teaming up with uh, Hiroyo Matsumoto. They take on Maya Yukihi and Veni. Now, this match was pretty interesting because there was a lot of, how do I say, I see determination from Misa Kugura. Misa, who I've seen grown up so much, not to mention recently, as you know, she was the GTO Girls champion. Uh, Now she's trying to pick up the paces where she's going to be left off. But however, she had a contempt with Vanny, who's a bit of the aggressive of everybody in the ring. However, this match did not go accordingly because it ended in a time limit draw. But however, they had to determine a winner due to the fact that who was going to be in the finals. So they did a little, how to say, one of those paper like envelopes or something. I don't know particularly, and one of them, Mayuhiki and Veni had the winning envelope, but Misa Kagura was not happy with the result. I felt like she is frustrated, like she is trying to determine to go to the top, but it didn't do any favor for her. Now, our next match we have is a part of the same tournament. We have Miyuki Takase. She teams up with Sarumi Natsu. But here's the interesting part. During the ring entrance, Sarumi Natsu comes out wearing the kind of pads they use when you go kickboxing. She had the shin guards. She had the pad when you do those kicks, the striking kicks. Even those kicks when you do roundhouse, like do that. I'm like, why is she wearing that? It makes no sense. But I think it had something to do to what happened at last battle. If you guys remember, she was betrayed by Mayukihi and everybody else. They were treating her like garbage. However, of course, their opponents are too not happy with what she was wearing. I'm talking about Arisa Nakajima and Suri. They're like, what the hell? So they even took off her padding. So basically, she had to go it out alone. She was being a bit of dramatic, but it didn't do any her favor. However, there was the moment where I don't know what happened. Risa Nakajima was being choked out by Miyuki Takase, but she was not responding to what she was doing. Like basically, I don't know. So in a way, Suri had to go at that alone while Nakajima rolled out of the ring and she stayed down. So basically, Suri was already in the ring by herself, but she managed to pick up the win by pinning Tsunami Natsu. But however, at the end of the match, you can see how Suri has great concern for the well-being of Nakajima. They even brought out a stretcher to see what's going on. So we don't know what's gonna happen, but later on, before the start of the final, they did reveal that due to the circumstances surrounding Nakajima, basically Suri said that they can't go any further. So Tsunominatsu and Miyuki Takase had to go on, but we'll get to that. Now, next match we had a little fun match. We have uh, Kakirida taking on La Pirida. So, as you know, these two are part of the same team. They throw in a little bit of fun and all that, but when it comes to doing their business in the ring, they're all business. That's what they are. But it's really fun. However, La Pirida picked up a very interesting win. You see, she applied the Kuma roll, but somehow Kurita actually was able to counter it. But, uh, how do I say, Lapidia recounted her again with another Kuma roll. Basically, I was like, wow, pretty much she picked up the win. Now, our next match, we have Nagisa Nozaki taking on Makoto. Interesting enough, these two ladies were part of the same group that happened at the last show in 2023 at Last Battle. But oh my god, these girls did not hold any back because they were determined to win at any way possible. But unfortunately, they reached their time limit draw at 10 minutes. So yeah. Now to the final of the Beyond the Sea tag team title tournament. We have Tsunumi Natsu and Miyuki Takase. Well, Tsunumi Natsu looks all dramatic, all beaten up. They had to take on Mayuhiki and Veni, but Tsunumi Natsu hasn't forgotten how Mayuhiki turned on her at last battle. But she was determined to win the match, but unfortunately it didn't do any favors for her because many applied the moonsault, picking up the win. However, once again they decided to humiliate Tsurumi Natsu. Then there are other tag teams that in fact wanted to get involved. Of course, Nozaki and Makoto. But however, Suri made sure in some capacity, I don't know what she said, that she will get an opportunity of the tag titles. that's something we'll be looking forward. But as for Nakashima, we will see what happens until then. But as for now, we'll just leave it as that and move on with AEW Rampage. Okay, AEW Rampage, as I mentioned before, still at Daly's Place, so let's get started. Our first match is the AEW Continental Crown Championship. Now remember, Wheeler Yuta called out Eddie Kingston, saying that this title is suited for a guy like him. But I want to make a note here. If you guys noticed, Eddie Kingston had defeated almost every one of the members of BCC. We're talking about Claudio, uh, Brian Danielson, even John Moxley. If he defeats Wheeler Yuta, well, he gets it. But one thing was interesting of the match is, of course, Yuta knows one of Eddie Kingston's primary weapons is the back fist. So he tries to disable the right arm in order to do so. Even though Eddie Kingston is stubborn as hell, he will eventually try it anyway. But of course, he will end this match with another weapon of his, and that is, of course, the Northern Light Bulb, would seal the deal for him to retain the title. Now, if you guys remember last week, we did see a very interesting combination between Mark Briscoe and the Hardys. Now, Aaron Kabani and Tony Schiavone did make a fantastic point. They seem like they can get through well, but of course, during an interview, they decided to put the entire trios division on notice. So that is something that we could definitely see down the line. So it's only a matter of time until they make their way to the trios championship. Now, our next match, we have Mike Sydal taking on Swerve Strickland. Of course, Swerve is determined to prove why he should be in the AEW World Title conversation, believing that title is meant for him, even though he has been determined. So right now, his obstacle is Matt Sydal, but also on the back of mind, he has to deal with the fact that Hangman continues to be a thorn in his side. So we'll see where that leads us from here on out. Now, I can tell you that this match between Swerve and Matt Sydal ends with the JML driver. So we'll see what happens on this Wednesday with Swerve. As you know, he will proceed for the title many times over. Now, during an interview, we do see, of course, Top Flight and Action Andretti. As you know, we know they have successfully been in a good trios division, singles competition, and of course tag team. But of course, here comes Private Party, who once again interrupted Private Party, Top Flight and Action Andretti. So basically, they're determined to put them on notice. However, once again, Action Andretti put the gulp of the water right in their faces, like they have no idea what they just saw. So that's the first time they had to see it. Next up, we have Queen Aminata. As you know, all of you remembered, I mentioned she is now all elite. She faces against Hikaru Shida. Now, it's not the first time these two have faced each other. They did rewind it back in 2022 where they actually did face each other, but of course, Hikaru Shida was the one that picked up the win. However, we have seen Queen Aminata has evolved since then, but was not enough for, of course, Hikaru Shida when she applied the katana, and it was lights out from here on out. Now, we do see the Outcast once again. Now, as you know, they're determined to try to separate Ruby Soho from Cool Hand Edge because of this little love story going on. But apparently, Harley Cameron got involved in some capacity. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Saraya's handiwork. But, of course, Cool Hand got caked in the face. So, I'm sure he's a little distraught, but we'll see what happens until then. But however, Cool Hand has to focus his energy right now because he teams once again with his buddies, Daddy Magic and Jake Hager. They take on the Dark Order. Uno, Silver, and Reynolds being accompanied by -1. I thought this match was fun. But one thing I knew, when it comes to -1, he will always get under people's skin. Somehow he must have got his hands on Hager's favorite hat, and he used that But however, Hager was separated because Uno took out Cool Hands and Daddy Magic. But however, what's his name? Hager got himself bested off with a combination combos between both Silver and Reynolds. Their combos have always been awesome to watch. And then they picked up the win with the jackknife. 1, 2, 3, it's over. And they really honored Brodie Lee in this match. And I think that show, we already saw that with Anna Jay and Preston Vance on 10. There was an exclusive interview recently that they showed where Preston talked about um, how he talks about Brodie, and then here comes Dark Order saying, I know we don't see eye to eye to each other, and I know this and that, but he did say there was one thing we do know as people who loved and respected Brodie, that we all make him proud, and if he tells him that I know for a fact Brodie's smiling down on you. So basically, he respected that out of them, knowing that yes, they're no longer buddies anymore, but they do have a common thread, and that is Brodie Lee. I thought that was a very touching moment. So anyway, let's move on with our next review, and this is, of course, our last one with NXT Level Up. Okay, as you know, NXT Level Up had their 100th episode, so we're gonna see who levels up on this NXT Level Up episode. So we started out with an interesting singles match. Joe Coffey taking on Tavion Heights. Now I think this is going to be a good match due to Tavion Heights is, of course, his background as a collegiate wrestler. I think that suits it well. And I'm sure Joe Coffey, as you know, he's one of the most toughest SOBs on the planet. Will probably have no problem whatsoever because some of their styles could be a little similar, but nonetheless, Joe Coffey is, like I said, a tough SOB. But he did put the belt for the Fest onto Tavion Heights, picked up the W, and that was it, pretty much it. Now, I want to point out something after this match to many people. I don't know if you noticed. Normally, when it comes to an NXT Level Up show, they normally have an interview right after the first match. For some odd reason, I did not see no interview. Now, I cannot determine whether they decided not to do it for this episode or they decided to do it for permanently. I don't know. But I'm willing to see where they're going to go from here on out. Now, our next match, we have Amari Miller taking on Jada Parker. Now, Jada Parker, you guys saw what happened this past episode on NXT. As you know, Jada Parker put out a business proposition for OTM because they were unable and successfully to obtain the NXT tag team titles from the family due to Rizzo's involvement. So this is what we see Jada Parker as a singles competitor. Now, Mara Miller, I felt like we should have seen her more, but Jada Parker picked up an impressive win on this one, giving her the W, and that was it right from there. Now, our next match, Joe Gacy, as you know, who has reinvented himself after the disbandment of the Schism. He is stepping up into a new element. But, however, how will this face? Well, this time he has to take on Big Body Javi, as you know. He talks too much, shows himself that he thinks that he is part of the effing show. But, however, that didn't do any well for him or did him any favors because it was the upside down that put away Javier Bernal by Joe Gacy, giving him a good W on this one. So I think that's pretty much it with this with NXT Level Up. But like I said, I did notice there was no interview made in this particular. Normally they do just one, but I don't know if this is temporarily or there's consideration. I don't know. We'll see what happens next week on that part. But nonetheless, there was some good matches to introduce the wrestlers themselves. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's move on to our last thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So this is what we have. Let's begin with the updated on the promotions on their events. Now, as you know, on the same day in the month of March, Kitsune Women's Wrestling has announced for their Kampai show taking place, Tomoko Watanabe will participate in their show. So this is another interesting thing, and I think this is her first time. I'm not sure she ever went to America, but that's the thing, I don't know. But I'm sure everybody will be enjoying it. Now, as I said it before, uh, Kitsune is not the only promotion that's having the same show on the same day, on the same month. We have KAOZ Lucha Libre. As you know, they will have the 39th anniversary of Blue Demon. They just announced two things coming up for that. We have a new person participated, K-Rai, Okereyaro, I don't know how to pronounce that, but she will be participating. However, a match has been announced for this particular day. We have Los Charros, um, Negro Charro, Blanco Charro, Rojo Charro. They will be facing against Dark Warrior, Angel, Angel Suicida, and what's his name? Sirius. I don't know, but yes. So this is one of the this is what is what's happening for that. They have, I don't know if they announced for another a match from this one, but we will see. So I think that's it from the updates on the promotions. Let's talk about certain developments. Lucha Libre Online has revealed that Natalie Lureta, if you guys don't know who she is the sister of Lola Vice, or who is the current star in NXT. She is now expresses and praying that she would like to get into NXT just like her sister. I mean, it is a possibility she could get in. I'm not sure. Hopefully I'm sure maybe Lola Vice could help her out, like maybe get her a tryout or something. We'll see about that. What do you guys think? Do you think we would like to see baby sister join NXT? I would like to see that too. Now, we haven't seen in the NWA Black G's, as you know, who's been out for quite some time. He just posted this. This was posted by, of course, the NWA. Let me pull it up real quick. Here it is. This is what he had to say. I was looking forward to making my return this weekend. I would love to make a trip regardless of the soreness and pain that I'm in. However, my gut tells me stay home with my family this weekend. I look forward to making my return at the next NWA event. Thank you to everyone for your continued support. Black G's. Yeah, so I had no idea. I heard that he might have been out for an injury or something, but it's great that he had some thought not to go to the next NWA show. But it's a good thing. I mean, you don't want to make things worse. That's the last thing you need. But I hope we get to see him again. He did say the next NWA show, which is coming up soon. So we'll see where that leads us from here on out. Now, as you know, Kenoh, he always has a state of opinion on certain things when it comes to pro wrestling. You know, like wrestlers who he thinks are not worthy, things that that needs to change, that sort. But he actually was giving his thoughts towards the controversial main event that took place New Year's on January 2nd. So this is the question he was asked. Marufuji versus Ibushi in the main event at Arika Arena was controversial in every sense of a word. He responds with, "Yeah, I'm sure there weren't many people who were sent home satisfied with the main event. If the main event focus had been the GHC, I think the result would have been different." Now, long before this main event actually came about, there were a lot of people that were not happy with the idea of having the Marufuji and Ibushi thing becoming a main event. Even Kenoh himself was upset with this. He even confronted Marufuji, telling him that this main event should have featured him as the GHC heavyweight champion. And of course, there were those that were not satisfied how there were a lot of people saying this match should not have happened. Not because it was not the main it was the main event. There were factors involved in this. It was later revealed that Ibushi was told that he was fine during his ankles, but he said in the comment that he was scammed, saying that they told him he was okay. But right now he is not entirely. So yeah. Now, injury alert. Apparently, WWE had suffered a couple of talents that were injured. One of them right now is Cora Jade, who suffered an injury during an NXT live show. But however, they're just hoping that it's nothing too serious. We know she just recently made her return back to NXT, building up some feuds and storylines. We'll see where that leads us from here. But however, during a SmackDown show, they did a show that Austin Theory and Carmella has also suffered a facial bruises. So hopefully they're okay according to what WWE says. I hate to see wrestlers being injured. I mean, we just saw a massive injury with Stardom last year, but yeah. So we'll see where that goes. Hopefully everything turns out well for Cora Jade, Hayes, and Theory. So that's pretty much it what we have for our news updates. So let's just call it a day. Okay. Hope everybody is having a good time and you enjoy this episode. Now, I wasn't too sure what I was going to put, if I was going to have just simply Rampage or NXT Level Up. But when Sealy came around, I thought about this, so why not? Let's do it. Originally, I was going to do the Future Stars of Wrestling. I decided, you know what? I'm going to skip it. We already far too long from this. But let's just focus right now on 2024, on this month. I yet to see the much recent shows with both Noah and All Japan Pro Wrestling. We do know we have the latest GCW show, No Compadre. I know I already catched up with everything. I will probably do that at some point. We do have two shows from AEW, Battle of the Belts and Collision. We do have Hard to Kill coming up, so that is something I'm looking forward to it. But we will see what happens. I know that I will have Battle of the Belts and Hard to Kill on the no Battle of the Belts and Collision on the same page. So we'll see where that goes. But from here on out, let's just see what happens from this moment forward. But as of right now, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.